Chris Lewis is a TV News public safety analyst. He's on the line. Mr. Lewis, thank you for your time this afternoon. So tell me, from what you've seen, what are you thinking happened here?
Well, good afternoon, Aaron. Well, as you said in your opening, it's really difficult to determine the why here. Obviously, this wasn't just a situation where somebody had a gun and quickly got mad and fired around at somebody. This guy went to a location, dressed the way he was, armed the way he was, and began to kill people. And so, the rationale for that, we may never know. But I think once they do a deep dive into him and what he is all about, something will come to light to make us kind of better understand what happened.
So what happens next year? So we know that, police cordoned off a large area here. There's a lot of video up here showing police trying to get into a building where apparently it looks like the original shots came from. And that's what's hard to figure out here, right? There's a big, what looks like it could be a hotel or a condo, and there's a broken window about halfway up. The original shots that we heard, and we played some of that audio, sound like they came from pretty far away. But then ultimately this played out on the street. So what are you thinking happened here?
Well, and once again, it's really hard to say. I mean, we saw a few years ago in Las Vegas, Nevada, where a gunman started shooting out of hotel windows. So was that the initial thing? And then, of course, if you do that, people are going to scurry quick and be, out of sight and behind cover. So then, and I'm only guessing here, then do you come down and try and find people? Maybe not specific people, maybe just anybody that moves to shoot at. And, or was it to draw police so police would come and then fire at police?
Yeah.
There's several different options there that could have been behind it, and maybe none of those apply.
Exactly.
And quite often in these cases, Aaron, the individual is dealing with severe psychological issues. And so for you and I to try and rationally sort out what might have been that they've been thinking, it's pretty tough to do.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Although I will tell you, I think back, seeing someone dressed in camo and carrying this long gun reminds me of a situation here many, many years ago in the Quebec National Assembly, and I can't remember, not that it's important, the man's name, but that was exactly the same, right? Walking into the chamber and sitting in the chair, carrying that long weapon. I wonder, too, in this case, and I don't know if you heard this, our own police chief today, because they had a press conference here after the fact, suggesting, and the question was asked, do you consider this an ambush? To which he said they don't have enough information now, but he did not rule it out. And we also heard him mention that the police ended up there to begin with, because the question would be, why were police there? There had been a 911 call made by, as the police chief said, a citizen talking about gunshots or concerned about gunshots, which almost makes me think, and I hate to jump to theories here, but if you were that person who wanted to go, after cops, that you would be the one who would make that call knowing that they'd have to react and respond.
It's certainly an option. Absolutely. Now, where that call came from in the 911 system, they'll generally be able to tell. Was it a cell phone? And if it's not a burner, who's that registered to? If it's a landline, where is it? So the investigation may show whether or not that occurred very naturally because he fired shots and someone called, or whether it was a setup of some sort.
Typically, so there's going to be an investigation. We have our own provincial police now taking this over. How does this play out from here going forward? And how long do you think will be till we have a clear indication of what happened? Is this going to be a matter of weeks and months?
Well, I don't really know. I think within days they're going to have a fairly good idea what occurred. And if there's not other suspects out there, so they're not trying to protect information for the purposes of having a trial at some point against somebody, then they should be able to speak fairly freely. Like we saw not long ago when the shooting occurred in northern British Columbia, every day they would come out with more information to feed the public. And so I expect that's what will occur here. The SQ, of course, will work with Montreal police. They'll lead the investigation. Montreal will have to cooperate and give them things that they've already done, I'm sure, in relation to responding to it in the initial investigation. But doing the biggest piece of this will be doing the deep dive into who is he trying to hurt and why. What's the social media profile, who's he associated with, and interviewing everyone around him who may say, now we know why he said this or did that, and things will start to become more clear.
I would ask as well, have you seen some of the video on social media posted over this?
I did, yeah.
And I think we need to be careful to say, don't assume everything you're seeing there is exactly how things played out. Do we need to say that to people as well?
Absolutely. And to look at, in the one video I saw, an officer lying behind a car, a female officer behind the corner of the wall, et cetera. Sometimes people will look at it and say, why didn't the female officer just jump up and shoot him right away? Oh, my God, unless you've been through something like that, and I have in my career, you have no idea. All the options you have available is your mind's racing 1,000 miles an hour, and you have to do something. At the same time, you see another officer shot, and on and on. So we just have to let it play out, let the cops do it, don't jump to conclusions, and be guided by what they tell us from there.
Close your eyes, and you can hear the entire world come alive. 2026 FIFA World Cup is on, and you can stream it all live on TSN Radio. From the opening kickoff to the final celebration, every match, every moment. Listen to FIFA World Cup on TSN Radio.
Gives Canada the lift off.
Available on iHeartRadio.